But then something else happened right around the same time, which was the birth of a new strand of the left with the election of Barack Obama as the first black president of the United States in 2008. There was the birth of a new strand of the left around that same time that had a slightly different theory of the case. And what they said was, well, hold on a second, Occupy Wall Street, okay? It's not just economic injustice. It's not just poverty that we care about. We have some new concerns on the left, like racism and misogyny and bigotry and, of course, climate change. You know what? This turned out to be the opportunity of a lifetime for big business in this country. Because if you're big business, if you're Wall Street, Occupy Wall Street is a pretty tough pill to swallow. But the new woke stuff was actually pretty easy. You applaud diversity and inclusion. You put some token minorities on your boards. You muse about the racially disparate impact of climate change after you fly in a private jet to Davos. It's pretty good work if you can get it. But they did not do it for free. They expected that new left to look the other way when it came to leaving their corporate power intact, and it worked masterfully like a charm for both sides. That is the story of how a bunch of big banks got in bed with a bunch of woke millennials who themselves are hungry for a cause. Together they birthed woke capitalism, and they used that to put Occupy Wall Street, the old left, up for adoption. And it worked so well on Wall Street that Silicon Valley then said, okay, we're going to get in on that. Because, you know what, if you're Silicon Valley back in 2010, 2009, the threat to your power used to come from the left. Break up big tech was not a right-wing slogan back then. It was a left-wing slogan back then. They were skeptical of the monopoly power of the rise of concentrated behemoths in Silicon Valley. So you know what Silicon Valley said? They said, okay, we can make that same deal with you. We will censor hate speech and misinformation as you define it. We will use our power to advance your substantive ends, but again, we will not do it for free. We effectively expect the new left to look the other way when it comes to leaving our monopoly power intact. And again, that trade worked masterfully for both sides. That is the story of this unholy alliance, this arranged marriage. It was not a marriage of love. It was an act of mutual prostitution, and the net result of that act was the birth of a new Leviathan, far more powerful than what Thomas Hobbes envisioned 400 years ago. Far more powerful than what our founding fathers envisioned 250 years ago, this new woke industrial, ESG industrial complex that's a hybrid of government power and corporate power that together could accomplish what neither could on its own. And then that's how you get the litany of what you saw follow in the years thereafter. The rest of corporate America gets in on the act. Coca-Cola making statements about a new voting law in Georgia that make it sound more like a super PAC than a soft drink manufacturer, teaching its employees how to be less white. Their words, not mine. While they do nothing about, by the way, their own impact on a nationwide epidemic of diabetes and obesity in the black community that they profess to care so much about, or Nike that decries slavery 250 years ago in the United States without saying a peep about using slave labor in places like China today to get $250 sneakers that they sell to black kids in the inner city who can't afford to buy books for school. This is the whole litany, okay? It just keeps going on and on.